Hey guys, today I'm going to continue on showing you the ritual to the Venus Pleiades conjunction that they showed us at the Super Bowl 54 halftime. My last video that I did was about this Venus Pleiades alignment. We're just going to continue on with that. After the Super Bowl, right after the Super Bowl, this show called The Masked Singer was on, and this also continued showing the Venus Pleiades conjunction, and I'll show you how that works here. Also, in this video I'm going to talk about the year of the ox. I covered this a little bit before, but we're going to continue on with more of the Chinese zodiac and the year of the ox. But this Venus alignment with the Pleiades coming up on April 3rd, 2020. This is directly from the book of Revelation, Revelation chapter 1. I've talked about this a little bit before, described this, but it's from Revelation 1:13. And in the midst of the seven candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. They're describing the Venus Pleiades alignment here. The seven candlesticks are the seven sisters of the Pleiades. And I showed you before how in Revelation chapter 22:16 that the angel that testifies in the churches, that is the root and the offspring of David and the bright morning star. The bright morning star is Venus. I'm talking about Venus here. One of the symbols or items of Venus is also the girdle. And the Venus-Earth orbit ratio form the pentagram of Venus. And the pentagram, the intersection of the lines of the pentagram, define the golden ratio. So the golden girdle, this is all about Venus and the Pleiades. And later I'll continue on with the rest of the verses of chapter 1 here and what celestial alignments they represent. But for now, we're just looking at this Venus Pleiades conjunction that was coded into the Super Bowl, and they continued on after the Super Bowl with the Masked Singer. And like I said, I'm going to be talking about the year of the ox and the Chinese zodiac. And then I'm also going to be looking at this number again, the 3313. This was an important number to the Super Bowl as well. It's important to Revelation. 24th star number. It's related to the year of the ox, and we'll get to that. This is something that Bobby Simpson sent over to me about the Super Bowl 54. If we look at the possession time of each of the teams, San Francisco had 26 minutes, 47 seconds. So that left Kansas City with 33 minutes, 13 seconds, a 33-13. And we're going to be talking about that number here. And it's directly related to the year of the ox as well, the Chinese zodiac. Okay, this is the intro that was played right after the Super Bowl and before the Masked Singer started here. I'll play this clip. And during this clip, they're playing the song Chariots of Fire, but I just have it muted here. You can see these titanic beings are invading the Super Bowl. Some very interesting symbolism there. Now coming up here, we'll have these two guys. They're at the Space Needle in Seattle. In the next scene, we get this scene at the St. Louis Arch. And I've shown you guys before, but it's exactly 2,777 kilometers from the Space Needle to the Gateway Arch. That's a revelation number. 2,777 is the 404th prime for the 404 total verses in Revelation. So it's no coincidence that they're showing the Space Needle and the Gateway Arch back to back like this in the intro. They also show Mount Rushmore, and Super Bowl 54 and Super Bowl 55 are both in Florida. And also I've covered that we had the Stoneman Douglas shooting. That was also in Florida, and the Stoneman Douglas High School is 1,776 miles from Mount Rushmore, the founding year. I covered that in a past video as well. So both Super Bowl 54 or 55 in Florida, the Stoneman Douglas shooting in Florida, and the Stoneman Mount Rushmore, 1,776 miles from the high school. And that shooting was on Valentine's Day. So this intro to, and finally here we have these Titans taking over the White House. But a super coded intro to the Masked Singer. Now I showed you guys the Pleiades ritual. Now we're going to look at the Chinese constellations and the Chinese zodiac here. The Hairy Head Mansion is one of the 28 mansions of the Chinese constellations. It is one of the western mansions of the White Tiger, and this mansion corresponds to the Pleiades in English. So if we go here and look at the Pleiades, we're going to switch to the Chinese constellations, the Chinese asterisms. The Pleiades are called the Hairy Head. And it's also known in the White Tiger Mansion. And if we continue on here with the first character, that was our first Masked Singer. It was the White Tiger. So right away here, they're coding the Pleiades again with the White Tiger Mansion and the Chinese Zodiac. And the White Tigers singing here on the Egyptian stage. We'll cover a little bit of the Egyptian symbolism here too. But right at the beginning of the Masked Singer, they also encode the Pleiades with the Western Mansion of the White Tiger that corresponds to the Pleiades. So in each of these episodes of the Masked Singer, they give us clues to who is under the mask, and these are the clues that we've gotten for the White Tiger. In the first episode, we got the clamshell and Abraham Lincoln. In the second episode, they had the skiing cow here, the skiing bovine. And you'll understand why I'm showing that here when we get to the ox. But the clamshell represents Venus. So we have our white tiger that represents the Pleiades. The clamshell represents Venus. The depictions of Venus are often shown her coming out of a clamshell. So that's our Venus. And then we have Abraham Lincoln. And the reason they showed Abraham Lincoln as one of the White Tiger clues is because Abraham Lincoln is on the copper penny. and the alchemical metal of Venus is copper. And they're also encoding the eclipse here, the Great American Eclipse. The Great American Eclipse made landfall in the United States in Lincoln City, Oregon. That was the first landfall of the path of totality of the Great American Eclipse on August 21st, 2017. So they're encoding a lot here. They're encoding Venus, the Pleiades, and then they're encoding the Great American Eclipse here. The alchemical symbol of Venus is copper. And now we're going to move on. I'm going to talk about the ox. But first I want to go back to this slide that I showed you in the past video. The X eclipses. This is the path of the August 21st, 2017 eclipse. It passed over Carbondale, Illinois in the 618 area code, also known as Little Egypt. So we had our Egyptian theme here. With the eclipse. And I also showed you that the X eclipse also marks the area that the 1968 Illinois earthquake happened. And I'll show you why the earthquakes are so important. Well, I'll show you right now, actually. Because we're going to be talking about the ox here. The ox in Chinese mythology is the origin of the earthquakes. According to widespread Gansu province myth, earthquakes have their origin in the annoyed shrugging of the ox, which bears the earth on its back. So the ox is associated with earthquakes. In the Chinese zodiac, right after the Masked Singer, encoding the eclipse. The eclipse happened right over the New Madrid earthquake, the 1968 New Madrid earthquake. Just a lot of stuff going on here, a lot of symbolism with this, with the eclipses here. And of course, okay, now I'm going to show you how this connects with the year of the ox. We're going to go back here to our Western zodiac. And if we look at the date of 3/31/2020, just a few days before the Venus-Pleiades conjunction, we have the Saturn-Mars conjunction on 3/31/2020. And this is a very special alignment that points to the ox in the Chinese zodiac. I'm going to switch back to the Chinese asterisms. So we have the Saturn and Mars conjunction, and I've done a whole bunch of videos how this 3/31/2020 date could possibly be World War III. There are certainly many World War III rituals specifically for this date and for this week. But now I believe that it's directly pointing to the year of the ox. But if we take a look at this alignment here, on the Chinese asterism, or the Chinese constellations here, the Mars-Saturn conjunction happens in the Ox constellation. I have this lined up as best I can here. We have the Ox, the celestial clock, we have the Mars-Saturn conjunction, and then we have Jupiter right under the celestial clock here. But this alignment is very important, the Mars-Saturn conjunction in the ox. And I'm going to cover this more, but there was a Mars-Saturn conjunction exactly 666 days before the United States entered World War II. And there's a lot more to World War to go with these past world wars and the Mars-Saturn conjunction. But this year it's important because it's happening in the ox. And the year of the ox begins on 2/12/2021. And I showed you guys before, O is the 15th letter, X is the 24th, 15 times 24 is 360, 360 degrees is a complete circle or a complete cycle. The year of the ox begins on 2/12/2021. If you remember the Twin Towers, the events of 9/11, that was in the 212 area code. Also the hour of the ox. Each animal on the Chinese zodiac represents a time on the clock as well. I showed you guys that the pig, the year of the pig, is represented by 9 p.m. through 11 p.m. The year of the rat is 11 to 1. And the ox is represented by the time of 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. That makes it 13. What's also interesting is that the 212th verse of Revelation is Revelation 13:1. This is the 212th verse of Revelation. And this is another one of those hidden mathematical gems in Revelation. The 212th verse of Revelation is 13:1. The 212th prime is 13:01. So if we look at the Greek isopsephy chart, we're going to look at the 15th and 24th letter on the isopsephy chart here. The 15th character is the Xi, and the 24th character is the Chi. This is the Xi, the 3 lines, the Chi is the X, and if we combine those 2 characters, it becomes the alchemical symbol for Venus. The 3 lines with the X. This is the alchemical symbol of Venus, or the symbol of copper. So another reference to our 15 and 24, our cycle, that comes back to Venus. And I showed you guys this before, but we're in the 32nd Venus pentagram since the United States was founded. Or I should say since the Revelation 12 sign. The United States was founded around these pentagrams of Venus. But the 32nd pentagram of Venus started on March 25th, 2017. Another interesting correlation here with Revelation 13:1 is 131 is the 32nd prime as well. The ox, Chinese year of the ox, will fall within the 32nd Venus pentagram after the Revelation 12 sign. If we look here back at the ox in the Chinese zodiac, you can see here they have the ox inside the octagon. Take a quick look at this. If we look at octagonal numbers, the 13th octagonal number is 481. It's a reference to the Great Pyramid. The Great Pyramid with the capstone in antiquity was 481 feet. And if we look at famous people that are born in the year of the ox, one of them is Barack Obama. I've done a little bit about him. Another famous ox is Paul Walker. Paul Walker, of course, he died in a car crash on November 30th, 2013. He crashed his Porsche Carrera on Hercules Street, and the address that he crashed was 28385 Constellation Road. This is the Paul Walker crash. This was a ritual to the year of the ox, ritual to the constellations, the zodiac. Crashed his Porsche on Hercules Street, and the building here is on Constellation Road. Hercules Street and Constellation Road is right here. Of course, one of the movies that Paul Walker is known for is Into the Blue. You can see here they have the blue beam, just like we had the tribute in light. The 9/11 tribute in light is the blue beam. The blue beam is in the 212 area code. The year of the ox begins on 212. The ox is the second of 12 signs in the Chinese zodiac. Also, the ox is directly opposite of the Chinese goat. And that goes back to our I Pet Goat. If they would have called it I Pet Ox, we would have got it right away. But the goat is directly opposite of the ox. And I Pet Goat, in the beginning of I Pet Goat, they show us the snake and the pig, both from the Chinese zodiac as well. And the release of the I Pet Goat movie on YouTube was on July 3rd, 2012. Exactly 404 weeks before this alignment with Mars and Saturn in the ox. All connected together there. And finally here, the 3313. 3313 is a very special number from Revelation. 3313 is the 15th star prime number, and it's also the 24th star number. Back to our O and our X, the 15th letter O, 24th letter X. 15th star prime, 24th star number, 3313. And that's very, very important to this week coming up as well, this 331 week. I'm going to go over this. This definitely is the final template to our clues to when Revelation begins. There's a couple 3313s encoded here that I haven't shown yet. I'm glad I waited to show you guys that. But super important to the year of the ox, the 3313, 15th star prime, 24th star number. Directly from Revelation 8:11, the great earthquake, 6:12, 33 verses to 8:11, 13 more to 9:11, 9:11, the golden verse of Revelation. So I'm going to go back here and talk about the other dates that I've shown in my past videos about World War III. We're going to cover those dates before I continue on. I've got these two videos that I have set to private right now, Faithful and True. And this video here, these are the last two dates that I'm going to show on my channel. I'm not going to look anything beyond here. What I have in these two videos, I'll show you when the time comes, but what I have in here is going to be the last stuff that I show you guys, whether I'm right or wrong. This will be the last days that we'll look at World War III here, or the events of Revelation. This is only about 5 or 6 lines of text in this video. And I've talked about Germany before, but extraordinarily important information here. I'll get to it, but we've got to go back and look at what I've shown before already to understand how we got here. Also, I'm going to be covering the emergency alert system here coming up. This is also very important to Revelation. I'm going to show you real quick here. There have been 5 emergency alert system tests. The first of the 5 tests was on November 9th, 2011. The 5th test was August 7th, 2019. And this is a Revelation ritual. I've already got it plugged in for you guys. First test, November 9th, 2011. 5th test, 8/7/2019. Exactly 404 weeks between those tests of the emergency alert system for the 404 total verses in Revelation. Another 404 here with the Chinese zodiac. Show you real quick. After the year of the ox is the year of the tiger. The album version of Eye of the Tiger by Survivor was 4 minutes and 4 seconds. And if you look at the lyrics of the song, Eye of the Tiger, very symbolic lyrics. But no doubt they're encoding the Chinese zodiac here as well. Survivor, Eye of the Tiger. Album version is 4 minutes, 4 seconds. Another Revelation reference. I know this seems kind of complicated, but it's really not. They're just mixing the mythologies, referencing different mythologies and their alignments. And the origin, of course, is all from Revelation. And I'll get more specific on those alignments in Revelation 1. But the coming up Mars-Saturn conjunction happens in the ox. Venus and Pleiades conjunction coming up on 4/3. Super important. So important that they're putting it in the Super Bowl, coding it in the Super Bowl. Their mainstream entertainment, the Venus-Pleiades alignment here. Okay guys, hopefully that's not too confusing. I know it's a lot to cover, and I'm going to break it down in shorter videos as we go along here. Just trying to put it all together in one big picture here so you understand just how important the year of the ox will be. It's connected to Venus. Okay guys, thanks for watching.